the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Come on in. 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 Let's play the song. Blessings. Let's play the song. Let's play the song. Blessings, blessings. Blessings, blessings, blessings. All right, we are behind the time, so I'm going to jump right in. Blessings to my brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. I'm Elder Rawchaa of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly podcast, broadcast, whatever you would like to call it. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Hope you all are doing well. There shouldn't be an echo. This thing is fine. Okay, this should be better. Thank you. This should be better. All right. Everything is good? Blessed by the best, and his name is Ahia. I am Elder Rawchaa, the Gathering of Christ Church, here with our weekly broadcast. I hope you all are doing well out there. Blessings, blessings. Shalom. Elder Lawya, he's coming in a moment. He's coming in a moment. All praises be to the Almighty. Columbia is waiting for you, Elder. Oh, yeah, I have to get to Columbia. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Man, there's so many things going on in the earth right now. Lord have mercy, there's so many things going on. There's so many things going on right now. I feel Jacob rising. Can you see? I can see him rising. Let me see. I tried to play the song. Jacob crying. What's going on here? Applications. Desktop. Jacob crying. Let's try it one more again. Jacob crying. Let's see what happens here. Somehow it's not working. All right, I have to play it later. Call on the Lord. All right, well, it's not working for some reason, but it's okay. I wanted to play Jacob crying, especially with the topic we're going to deal with tonight. Right? But, hey, I got to work with what I have. I got to work with what I have. Right? There it is. I'll do it this way. I'll do it this way. Let's go. Jacob crying. Shane. All right, here we go. Jacob crying.
I hear Jacob crying. Why here I can hear him crying.
Come on, Jacob, wake up.
When you gonna rise?
Call on the Lord.
Mighty Jacob rise.
Let's hear your roar.
When you gonna rise, Jacob?
When you gonna rise, Jacob? He can hear you calling. He can hear you crying. I feel Jacob rising.
I feel
Jacob rising. Can you see? I can see him rising.
Jacob, dry your eyes
and call on the Lord. Mighty Jacob rise, you'll be restored. Come on, come on, trouble.
Troubles are brewing, Jacob.
We need to stop what we're doing.
Just stop what you're doing,
Blessings, blessings. Hit the like button.
Jacob. No, the promise is waiting.
The promise is waiting.
Oh, Jacob, you need to call on the Lord.
Come on.
So I can hear
You're all. I can hear him crying.
Jacob, dry your eyes and call on the Lord.
All right, we're going to jump right in. Hit the like button. I'm Elder Rawchaa, the Gathering of Christ Church, here with our weekly broadcast. Okay. Now, of course, I have a few announcements to make before jumping in. All right, I hope the mic is working fine. Blessings, blessings to my brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. And yes, we're working on some new music. We'll be seeking to do some type of quasi-truth tour. A few shows this year throughout the United States as we go on our rounds dropping the fall of Babylon and what's going on in the earth in the midst of a concert for our brothers and sisters throughout the earth. So we're looking into that. Keep your ear to the ground for that. A truth concert. Get ready for that. We're going to try to travel with the truth using music as the vehicle. All right. Shalom to my brothers and sisters. And yes, the Passover will be here in a few months. I can't wait for that. And yes, Orlando, Florida for that. All praises be to the Most High. Orlando, Florida, we will be there amongst our brothers and sisters for the next Passover. And I will be making some announcements leading up to that particular high holy day. This coming March 14th, March 15th, we will be there. Now, there's so many things going on in the earth right now, and I don't think it's a coincidence for the last... First of all, let me say hello to Elder Lawya. He's in the house. How you doing, Elder Lawya?
Shalom, sir. Shalom. How you doing?
I'm blessed by the best, and his name is Ahia. Good to see you, young man. Yes, I have some sad news.
Okay.
It seemed as if, well, I knew eventually it would come to an end. Blog Talk sent us a message today while I was logging in, setting up for the broadcast, and I knew it was eventual. It was an eventuality that they would eventually bow out of the broadcast game, right? Which is really Blog Talk is really the mother of podcasts, if you want to really be honest about it. And for the last year or so, we've been exhibiting or experiencing a lot of issues there, right? Barely being able to get in, receiving messages that right now it's down and call back in later. A lot of issues within the last year. But
Right.
I went to set up the broadcast, and out of nowhere, this message popped up. Some sad news, because it seems like Blog Talk been on this journey with us since the beginning, right?
Right. Exactly.
Right. And out of nowhere, I took a picture from my computer here. All right. And out of nowhere, I logged in and this message popped up. I don't know who this lady is. Madeline from BlogTalkRadio Incorporated. As of January 31st, 2025, Blog Talk Radio will no longer be operated. We are so thankful for the support and creativity that you have brought to our platform. We wanted to share this information with you now to ensure you have the opportunity to save and redirect your content to another platform or download your podcast to ensure its longevity. That means once we do a broadcast, we must download it immediately, or all of our past broadcasts will actually be erased. If you have any questions, please reach out to our team. We've also sent you an email regarding this. Please confirm the receipt to ensure your acknowledgement of this notification. Now, one thing, Elder Lawya, I respected about Blog Talk, right? It was the one place we could go when it came to being able to speak candidly without any censorship. It seems like this became the home at one point for the so-called conspiracy theorist.
Right.
Right. Now, I have a problem with the word conspiracy theory or that phrase demonizing free speech. I have a problem with that, in general. I really have a problem with that because there was no such term as conspiracy theory before the magic bullet thing happened with the JFK murder, right? It seemed as if it was something cooked up out of a think tank. When there were people in the 60s questioning whether or not one bullet can hit a man, leave a man, and re-enter and strike him more than one time, right?
Right.
A lot of people don't know that through that commission, I think it was called the Warren Commission or something. Through that particular commission, they came up with the term, if people began to question that particular, cause of death, if people were suspicious concerning it, then they were coined conspiracy theorists, and therefore the birth of that particular term was given life. Before that, there was no such thing. That means people, Americans or anyone in the world, had the right to question something that was suspicious. And now, and I'm going back to Blog Talk. Blog Talk was one of those places where we can have open conversation without government, telling us that it isn't okay, to speak to power, to question power. Right. It was one of the few places left that we could still talk openly. And guess what? Sometimes it's okay to be wrong. And one thing about open dialogue amongst people, it's okay that if your perspective isn't aligned with government, or sometimes being right or wrong, it's having the discussion that leads to solution. And I believe that's what they've been trying to get in front of for a long time, especially when it comes to the awakening, right? But all in all, I thank the Most High for the opportunity with Blog Talk and YouTube and these platforms to actually be able to go straight to the people, to have an opportunity to have these conversations before, I'm going to tell you right now, before it's illegal to actually tell the truth. And right? And I think we're close to that. But bye-bye, Blog Talk. We thank those who were participating and been on this Blog Talk journey with us for years. I'm talking about since around 2009, 10. We've been on the platform almost every Wednesday, and I thank you all for being on this journey with us and to continue this journey beyond this particular platform. I mean, from Justin TV, we looked up and they said, well, guess what? Before there was YouTube, the only place to stream really was Justin TV. The beginning of internet streaming, live streaming, was really Justin TV. And that's when YouTube said that you can only put 10 clips up at the time, 10-minute clips, and we would put up 5 to 10 parts, right? But Blog Talk was an innovator. Justin TV was an innovator. And just like anything, we adapt and pivot. And who knows, maybe we'll do the live barnyard type deal where people can come in through barnyard and we can have a lot of different windows up and they'll interact with us that way, along with Zoom and or Patreon. Now that Blog Talk, has come to an end. So that's my eulogy on Blog Talk. Let's jump right in it. All right. Before I go into the topic, it's a serious topic tonight. I would like to also say that we are in a new enrollment period for the Hebrew and Bible Academy. I hope you all, can enroll and be a part of this. As we come closer to the end, more information is coming out, and there's more truth to be told. And one thing, speaking of not being censored, the Hebrew and Bible Academy is one of the places where we don't have to worry about it. I mean, we have to pay a pretty penny to have that platform, but all in all, it allows us to speak truth and break down the Bible in a scholarly setting. And what's great about the Academy is that people can actually be a part of this from the comfort of their own homes, right? From the comfort of your own homes, you'll get news like none other, Elder Lawya with the Hebrew, as well as the lessons. Very detailed lessons are sent out to your email address. You can link in serious information when it comes to those lessons. And yes, you can click in, be right there in your bed, right? Sit up in your bed with the pillow behind you if you would like, and still enjoy a great Bible experience. And that's what this particular academy, all the academies have done. And if it be the Most High's will continue to be a blessing to so many who have been a part of this. And yes, the academy is like none other. And we're gonna go into the judgment of the gods, some new lessons on that, right? We're going into the angels' origins, week 2, and a lot of new lessons we're going to actually jump into that you've never seen in our academy. So go to historytimes.org to enroll. historytimes.org. Okay. Now there's a lot of announcements I would like to make, but I need to jump right in with this. And I'm going to also say, make sure on Tuesday nights you support Elder Rawchaa. Great insight, great classes, different topics every Tuesday on GOCC Media. Make sure on Thursday night tomorrow, you be there around 7 o'clock for the Levi Experience with Deacon Hazak. And yes, Elder Rawchaa does a great job every Friday with Coming Out of Babylon. So there's so many different areas you can reach. You can see the knowledge, and so many great brothers throughout the earth who are doing a great job. And make sure you support all the public mediums we have out there when it comes to the social media platforms, while there's still opportunity. Because I got an inclination, Elder Lawya, that once Blog Talk went down the way it did, that I believe that they're going to be going into some serious censorship very soon. So, right. So let's I would say take full advantage of this opportunity. Be grateful for what the Most High have allowed us to do up until this point. And brothers and sisters, please continue to support this work. None of this is possible without you and your family being present. historytimes.org. Go to the academy. Enroll in the academy is quite inexpensive, and we need your support any which way you can do so with the academy, as well as you can donate to the cause, which is the truth, so we can set up some more churches, get to you. And you can go to gatheredofchrist.org, hit donate, and the options are there for you to support the church. We're going to need your help in the home stretch, okay? Now, all praises be to the Most High. Elder Lawya, let's go.
Yes, sir.
You see the topics. The topic for this evening. And, of course, I would like some interaction, some dialogue, and some solutions at the end of this. What can we do to get in front of what they're not telling us? And what's that? Here's the question. Are black men disappearing. Now, I know y'all seen this topic and everybody started jumping in like, oh, what is this about, right? Now, before I jump in, let me go into some news real quick. Right? Some news real quick. I'm going to jump right in because don't forget, I said last week and I reiterated these particular woes or signs that were given to us through 2nd Baruch. These are the things we must look for, these 12 separate parts. Commotions, slaying of the great ones, which is God's people, fall of many by death, sending of the sword, wars, rumors of wars, famine, withholding of rain, earthquakes, terrors, attacks of the Shadim, which is demonic attacks. That's right. Mental health issues. They try to clean it up by calling it mental health, but it's really, when people have mental health issues, it's really demon possession. And this in particular is going on right now in California. What? You got it. Part 9 that we need to look into. The fall of fire. The fall of fire. Part 9. What's going on right now in California? You got it. There's a lot of suspicious things going on right now over in LA, and brothers and sisters over in LA, you stay prayed up and reach out and let us know what's going on over there if you can. Right now, no news is good news. Okay? And right now, what's going on over in California? Wildfires burn out of control across Los Angeles area, kill 5 as thousands flees home. Another sign. Fall of fire. Now, is this arson? Is there some sinister plans or sinister activity that's going on? Right? Hold your answers until we get through this particular lesson. This discussion more so tonight. Okay? Hold your answers. Let's jump right in, Elder Lawya. Jumping right in. Are black men disappearing? I notice, Elder Lawya, that art imitates life when it comes to the media programming. And the programs they give us is to adjust us through some type of social engineering so that we can actually accept a new society without questioning what has happened to our current and or past society. And I'm talking about representation as a people. I'm noticed on TV they're giving us the mixed couples. If they show a black woman that has anything that's going on, if she has something going on, education or whatever, she's either single or with a white man or another ethnicity. If they're showing a black man, he's usually with another man or with another ethnicity of woman. So what are they engineering us into accepting? A future without black family. Now, is that future or are we already here? Now, I understand there's a lot of families together. I'm talking about, but generally, I mean, what we're seeing on the internet and what we're seeing on these broadcasts, it seems as if we have convinced ourselves that it is the future. So to not accept the reality of what's really going on when it comes to the total dissolving of the black family. Now, I titled this, Are Black Men Disappearing? And it made me do some research while I was up here today. You know, I went up there, I was putting together my weight set, doing things like that, and listening to a few things. And, you know, I called someone, well, a friend of mine. Louis knew about this friend. You know, he's a guy that's a pastor. I invited him on years ago, but he gave me a brother's phone number, and I reached out to the brother because these were people, I'm kind of reaching out to a lot of people I grew up with. You know, I want to know how they doing, because when I was growing up, when we were growing up, Elder Lawya, our next door neighbors and people in the community were like our actual family, right?
Right.
It's like the whole, it's as if the whole block were cousins, right? That's how we seen each other. And the men and the adults on the block were like our aunts and uncles. That's how close we were. And folks, I mean, this was before, Elder Lawya, the internet. This was before, and don't forget, there was only about 3 major television stations during that time. So the recreation was, you had to go outside in the community to actually, to be engaged. You had to be engaged in the world, or just sit in darkness with nothing to do, bored out of your minds, bored out of our minds. So at that time, community meant everything. So I reached out to someone, a brother of mine, a friend of mine. And I'm like, yeah, how's your dad doing? And I spoke to him a few years ago, and his dad was fine. He was like, June, I'm sad to tell you, you should have reached out. I didn't even think to tell you that, one day he just dropped and no one knew. I think it was a heart attack or whatever the case might be. And I was like, man, are black men disappearing? And I didn't want to push or to, seem insensitive. And I didn't know what questions to ask. I was so shocked concerning the fact that he died. Everybody loved this man in the community. But anyway, I was curious, and I asked, well, let me ask you out of nowhere, did he get the shot? And he was a matter of fact about it. He was like, what, the COVID shot? I'm like, yeah. He said, yeah, he of course he did. He got a few of them. I went, interesting. I'm like, listen, you in my prayers, whatever you need, you reach out, which is a deep thing. And it led me to, and I was thinking hard on this. I'm looking at what's going on in the media, adjusting us not to see black men all together. And it made me do some research, and it's deep because we're living through a prophecy right now. We're living through a serious prophecy. Black men disappearing, and that's in the scriptures too. I'm going to show you. They have us focusing on things like this. There's no definitive link between New Orleans attack and Las Vegas Cybertruck explosion, FBI says. They're talking about it, it took over the news. The Tesla truck that stayed intact after explosion. And some guy who's connected to probably ISIS, they said, or possibility of him being a part of ISIS, claiming that, someone got in the car and started mowing people over. Now, I'm not insensitive to any of this, but I'm like, when we have this type of news, especially when they talk about ISIS or whatever the case is, right? When we deal with this type of news, one second. When we deal with this type of news, let me do this real quick. Yeah. I tend to begin to look into what are they redirecting the masses from actually realizing or understanding, right? Because the media, Elder Lawya, they cherry pick news based on specific agendas that they're looking to progress. So,
right.
So I try to ask, okay, I know what their plans are according to the word. I see what they're trying to have the world accept through the World's Economic Forum. They tell everyone where they're taking the world. So when I see news, I understand that that's the driving force that leads them to their, into accomplishing whatever plans they have from year to year. Now, so when I hear ISIS, I'm like, well, okay, I heard this before. Years ago, it was stated, one second. Years ago, some guy came on TV and said, well, there is a such thing as ISIS, the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service, or whatever the case might be. So when I hear ISIS, I'm like, well, okay. The last time I heard about ISIS or Al Qaeda, it was about going to war in the Middle East. But then it was about what? Nation building against the countries who would resist the New World Order throughout the Middle East. They told us one thing when I heard ISIS and Al Qaeda, but really the plan was to bring the Middle East into the New World Order. Right? So when I start hearing ISIS, terrorism, it goes back to what I was mentioning when this ministry first began. That eventually it's going to be, it's a diversion when they put these things out there. But what are the things we should be actually, or the events we should be paying attention to? A lot of the diversions are out there. Oh, Joy Taylor and how she was able to, join Fox Sports and being a pretty girl, making it to the top, using what she got. How is that news?
Right.
If that's not a mass diversion, what pretty girl in the corporate structure isn't going to use what she looks like to gain an advantage over everyone in the corporation? How is that news? I'm like, well, hold up. What are they distracting us from? What are they distracting us from? When we see somebody rolled some people over in Vegas or whatever the case, or in New Orleans, and then a Tesla truck, which is synonymous to an advert if you want to look at it. That's one of the greatest marketing tools I've ever seen. A car get blew up but stay intact. Who's not going to go out and buy that truck? I digress. All these distractions. Oh, Joy Taylor's doing this. Trucks are blowing up. ISIS, terrorism. And I'm like, you know what? A lot of these are convenient distractions. Distractions from what? Well, I'm going back to the original premise of that phone call today. I think they're covering up the fact that black men, black people, are dying early. Is it intentional? Is this conspiracy? Check this out, Elder Lawya. Health. From the MLK 50, Justice Through Journalism. Now, this story was as of October. Black men are still dying young. Several efforts are attempting to change the status quo in Memphis. No one anywhere, Elder Lawya, is publicizing this on mainstream media or whatever the case. The urgency to get to actually get our people or get the world interested in wondering why black men are dying. There's no interest out there at all. It's as if they would like us to quietly accept black men not existing at all. And they've already started through their predictive programming to have us accept less black men, especially in America. Now, how are we dying? Crime is down. There is no drug wars like it used to be. So those were the built-in excuses before. Black on black crime. And all these others, right? But crime is down. So I started looking into this. I really started looking into this. It took me a few hours to put this together. I'm like, they've already adjusted people through the media to accept a world, a society without black men. At the same time, they started promoting this trans woman thing, this anti-family type thing, anti-Christ type thing when it comes to the family. Now, excuse me.
Rawchaa.
Thank you. So, Elder Lawya, if there's no black on black crime like it used to be, how are we dying at these fast rates? And why isn't the media saying anything? So I have to look into this because, you know, I have skin in the game. Okay? I have skin in the game right here. Right? If people like me start disappearing, I need to figure it out. Because it won't be too long before, you know, I mean, I'm included in this bunch here.
Right.
So, I said, people are dying out of nowhere. Somebody told me, someone we knew who was healthy years ago before the pandemic, just dropped dead out of nowhere. Right? I'm like, so how are they going to execute this plan to continually just have our people, black men, disappear without any of us realizing the landscape changing altogether? How are they doing it? And how will they continue to progress it? Was my question. Right? So I started looking into this. Now there's some Bible scriptures on this. But before I go there, let me read this. Okay? And this is from Siam. Death rates among black people in the U.S. are rising after falling. Right? So it goes into the demographics how more black women are dying, right? Compared to white women. More black men are dying. We're all the way up there, right? Opposed to white men. On and on and on and on. So I looked into this. I'm like, well, okay. Right? But this one popped out, stood out. Elder. This one stood out to me. And this was a study from the Johns Hopkins study. And this was an article earlier last year. Johns Hopkins study points to medical errors as America's third leading cause of death. Medical errors as America's third leading cause of death. That means they go to the hospital, get a procedure. As of May 2024, it's the third leading cause of death. Medical issues. All right? Now, so I started doing some comparisons to say, well, okay. So there's a greater chance that we may die from a procedure going to a hospital. There's a greater chance we'll die through that than something happening to one of us with some, random terrorist act. The chance of someone actually dying, and they've already done the statistics on this, dying in a terroristic attack, is synonymous to someone standing next to a tree while it's raining and getting struck by lightning. So how is it that they would have us more so focused on terrorism and the fear that something might happen when this is happening? And I started looking at something else, Elder Lawya. So they want us to focus on terrorism. Why? Because many people die through these heinous terrorist acts. Okay, we should be concerned about that. But shouldn't we put more of our I would say, shouldn't we set our sights more so on the place where the deaths are happening in greater numbers? Shouldn't that be our focus? Not to say that we're going to ignore terrorism, but if this is the third leading cause of death, that means you go to the hospital to get treatment and end up taking a dirt nap. Shouldn't we more so focus on those deaths? Because at least you can't control some random nut job doing something, but at least this is something we can get behind, put eyes on, and begin to understand what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is something we can actually do something about, right? But the question is, do they want to do something about it? So, you know how I start looking into things. I'm like, well, okay. And this is how I was able to bring this around full circle. Elder Lawya. I remember years ago when Alex Jones was on YouTube. And there was a lot of so-called, that's when it was okay to be suspicious concerning, some of the, I would say, actions, the clandestine actions through the alphabet clubs, like the FBI, CIA. It was okay to question government. Even if they would label you conspiracy theorists, you can still talk about it nonetheless. And, man, I remember on one of those shows, one guy came on, I think he came on Alex Jones' show, and he says, we have to really look into, listen to me clearly, we have to look into foreign armies coming into America, sabotaging Americans. Now, the way he thought it was going to happen, listen to me, Elder, he thought it was going to happen a different type of way. He thought that the other countries would come in and begin to just blow things up, or NATO armies would get the martial law call to be able to march on America, to be able to arrest and do internment camp on American citizens. They were making it seem as if a standing army would come in and do it. That was the talk. I don't know if you ever heard that one before. That NATO and the armies would bring forth martial law, and it'd be foreign troops who have no emotional attachment to citizens that was going to round Americans up. Remember that?
Gone.
I remember that. They said like mercenaries, American troops, internment camps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to believe that was the bait and switch. But there was one thing that stood out with that particular theory. I'm going to call it a theory. To why the outside governments would use other people. Now that part leads into what we're going to talk about tonight. They would have to hire other people from the outside of the country who doesn't have an emotional attachment to the people born here. So therefore, they wouldn't think twice about getting rid of people they have no vested interest in. Now that stood out. Now, why do I say it's a bait and switch? Common sense, Elder Lawya, would tell you that if any army tried to come into America, knowing that Americans have the right to bear arms, guess what? You're talking about the greatest standing army together as citizens since the world was created. So common sense should have told us back then, there's no way some NATO troops is going to come in and engage the American citizens, knowing that every American, the majority of them, have a right to bear arms. And they would unite together as a standing army, a country as a standing army against any outside invaders. They wouldn't, they're in the business, Elder Lawya, of divide and conquer. They're not in the business of doing things that would bring people together to fight against a common enemy. That's why I said that was a bait and switch. But the part that stood out to me was they're going to bring some people in who doesn't have an emotional attachment to the Americans. And they'll be incentivized to undermine Americans. Now look at this. John Hopkins' study points to medical errors as America's third leading cause of death, right? Look at this. December 17th, 2024. Immigration as a solution to healthcare workforce shortages. You see where I'm going at here?
Yes, sir.
If it can happen like this, do you need a standing army? Do you need a NATO troops to come in? So we have an uptick of Indians, Asians, and others who have went to school in these particular fields. Now, I'm not insinuating anything, but with the uptick with black men just disappearing, black women too, how should we deal with this change in dynamic where there's people who doesn't have an emotional attachment to us, responsible for whether or not we live or die in a trusting sector, which is the healthcare system? I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not saying this is what's going on, but this is a serious dynamic that most haven't examined. I may go into a hospital and think that this person, because they may look like me, have my interest at heart. I'm putting my life in their hands. But are they from here? Do they have an emotional vested interest on whether or not I live or die? Is there someone in this position who has resentment against us? And should, right? Think about that. Do I want a racist, someone who has negative resentment against us in a position, a life where my life is on the line? And my family must, now my family, Elder Lawya, isn't going to know the difference when they see the white jacket. They're going to think it's the same trusted system that we all grew to love, to trust, and to honor and respect. And on top of that, respect those who know more in the health field than we do. Now that I see people are dropping dead out of nowhere, now that I see there's an uptick on diagnosis, cancer diagnosis, diabetes diagnosis, high blood pressure diagnosis, and then statins at an uptick when it comes to high blood pressure. Now, we all know the history of statins. Statins was once used only in acute situations during an operation where your blood pressure go up and they needed to level the blood pressure strictly for surgery. So there was a place for statins, but it was usually in the operating room. And now you think it's a coincidence that all these things out of nowhere came out of nowhere, and all the men and women we know have been diagnosed with something, is on this stuff, and now the landscape have changed concerning how many of us still exist in the community. We tend to just deal with the regentrification side of it when it comes to real estate. Right? Are we not more important than the property that's getting taken? When we think about regentrification, we typically think about real estate and how other nations are coming in. But we seldom place our sights on how many of us are disappearing, which is allowing them to actually regentrify where we live. Are we disappearing? And in lieu of everything that I've just dropped right now, what are we going to do to protect ourselves? What are we going to do to get in front of this? When I look up, when I go into North Philadelphia, the last time I went there, I seen Anthony Hyman, a guy I grew up dancing and singing with. He was standing right on the corner, right next to a Rite Aid. Right? He's like, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got you, Ant. There was an ATM machine near there, so I went to the place to go to an ATM machine. You know, I like to give people a few bucks if I have it or whatever the case is. And I seen nothing but East Indians in the pharmacy. Now, I grew up right there near Broad and Susquehanna. I grew up around there, 15th and Diamond Streets. And it was weird to me because there was only one pharmacy, and it was a Jewish pharmacy a block away from there. And it was a mom and pop type thing where the people who serviced the community had a vested interest, had an emotional attachment to the people in the community. I don't think it's a coincidence that the same time we being diagnosed with all this stuff, there's some other people from somewhere else writing our prescriptions for the community. And I don't think it's a coincidence that these same people are the same people who have opened up the border so their families from where they come from can now have a place. But what I'm saying is, not at our expense. And I don't think our people are seeing it this way. That is that, I'm just questioning things. Is that a possibility? Even if they don't even realize what they're doing? That they're being used as buffers to get rid of us, to make place for their own? And operating as almost quasi-mercenaries. But if they're mercenaries, who's paying them? Who's propping them up? Immigration as a solution to healthcare workforce shortages. Now, Elder Lawya, all the jobs our people are complaining we can't find. Okay? And they're here on the internet talking about they need to do something about the workforce shortages in the healthcare. And guess what? The convenient Hegelian dialectic. The convenient Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. Now, are they talking about giving the jobs to the people that links directly back to chattel slavery? Right? No. This is what they talking about. Look, let me show you. Let me show you here. Let me get it here. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Here's their solution. Hold on. Let me go back here. Now, I read this earlier today, and I thought I would show brothers and sisters. Immigration as a solution to healthcare workforce shortages. Right? Check this out. Executive summary. The United States healthcare system faces a profound workforce crisis that threatens the availability and quality of care nationwide. A combination of factors including demographic shifts, burnout, training bottlenecks, low wages, support roles, and uneven workforce distribution. Now, of course, if you bring in people from other countries, especially poor countries, you don't have to worry about the hassle over low wages, do you? Right? And usually you get what you pay for. An uneven workforce distribution has exacerbated shortages across the care spectrum. These issues are heightened by a rapidly aging population, an aging workforce, and systematic inefficiencies in the healthcare infrastructure. As a result, the United States is spending more on healthcare than any other country. So all the money you're spending on healthcare, and what? And what? And what? All the money spending on healthcare, but yet medical errors is America's third leading cause of death? The math isn't mathing here. How is it America is spending more than any other country in healthcare, but yet it's the third leading cause of death when people go to the hospital? And I would like to know what those statistics are when it's our people. The third leading cause of death, according to Johns Hopkins in the United States, is when someone goes to a hospital and some procedure may lead to them dying. Well, I wonder what that number would be if they were just measuring how many black people go into the hospital and die, opposed to any other ethnicity. I'm just putting that out there. Now, hit the like button. Y'all doing a great job. We're at 2,300. We're about 500 likes down. Please help us out there. So they're going to help us out with the shortages of help in the healthcare sector. So what do they need? Structural reforms are crucial for strengthening the domestic healthcare workforce. But these efforts would take years to yield results. In the meantime, immediate interventions are needed to address current shortages. So now, here's the solution now. Here's the solution. Y'all ready? Here's the solution. With immigration presenting a compelling, what? Solution. The Hegelian dialectic. With immigration presenting a compelling solution, immigrants already play a crucial role in the United States healthcare sector, accounting for, check this out, Elder, already, 18% of the workforce. So did you know that 20% of the people you see in the hospitals were from somewhere else?
Wow.
Huh? And guess what? That's if you believe these numbers. I believe in the inner cities, this can be upward to 40 to 50% in the inner city.
Right.
How should we examine this, especially in the advent of an understanding that black men are disappearing? And it's not through black on black crime. It's not through criminality, because there's no drug war and crack war like it used to be and all that other crap. How are they silently getting rid of black men? And should we put a magnifying glass on this? Including a significant share of physicians, nurses, home health aides. That means, hey, mama and dad, right? When family used to take care of their family, then you're putting your loved ones, your father and mother, in the care of strangers from someplace else, possibly. Restrictive United States immigration policies severely limit the entry and integration of foreign healthcare professionals, leaving critical gaps unaddressed. So what they're saying is 20% of immigrants in the healthcare sector is not enough. That's what they're saying here. It's already 18%, but they're getting in the way of these immigrants taking more jobs in the healthcare trusted sector. Where what? Where, again, 1/3 of the leading cause of death is through medical procedures, medical errors. That means, check this out. That means it's one thing if everything went right, folks, where the doctor did everything he could properly, and then what? Fate reared his head. But I'm talking about medical errors, mistakes. 1/3 of Americans' death is through mistakes? Or is it? Or are they truly mistakes? That's my question. Now, I'm about to pull out some scriptures in a minute, Elder Lawya, but one thing I wanted to show. Fair use. And then when it comes to solutions, I'm gonna need people to listen. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, folks. The reality is right in front of us. So complaining about it, talking about what they're doing and all of that, that ain't gonna change the dynamics of things. Even when we go out and teach and we start dropping, you have to watch what's really going on out there and all that. Understand, we're not going to stop what's going on, what they're doing. The book of Daniel tells us that this is the end of desolations. The desolations is the total annihilation and destruction of the children of Israel, mainly getting rid of Judah first. So complaining about it isn't going to change anything. They're going to do what they're doing regardless. Now, the question is, are we going to volunteer for our own demise? That's really what it comes down to. Right? Now, there's one thing I wanted to show. Hold on.
You said we can't earn it? Okay.
Because the thief on the cross,
Okay.
he was a thief till the last moment.
Give me Hebrews chapter 4.
He was a thief till the last moment.
Hold on. So let me show this now. Now, in lieu of everything I've just said, check this out. I need y'all to listen to this real quick.
At TV, the world is thinking.
The proportion of GDP that goes to healthcare, is that over-allocated?
Well, the U.S. spends 17%.
Hold up. Let me see if I could put closed captions on this. There it is. Listen to this. It's speaking of how much money is going towards healthcare. Now, it doesn't make sense if America spends more money on healthcare that the third largest reason for death, or the third leading, the third reason for death in the United States would be medical errors. Right? Listen to this. Closed captions on. Listen to this.
For at TV, the world is thinking.
The proportion of GDP that goes to healthcare, is that over-allocated?
Well, the U.S. spends 17% of GDP on healthcare, and you drop down to number 2, which is Switzerland at 12%. And so you say, well,
fair use.
What do we get for that? Well, we get nothing. The health outcomes, which are complicated to compare, but the health outcomes are basically slightly worse both in terms of averages and the inequity. Our bottom quartile is very ugly compared to all other rich countries' bottom quartile. Our upper quartile is somewhat better, but that's how you get the inequity. So we're spending at a huge rate, which if it wasn't increasing faster than inflation, it's increasing as a percentage of the economy, then okay, you can probably afford it. But as it continues to grow, it squeezes, unless people say, yes, I would like to be taxed a lot more. And most states have these super majorities that are required to do that. And it's not likely, and it's not clearly a good thing either. But as long as you're dealing with a finite amount, as the medical cost goes up, and that shows up both in state budgets as so-called state Medicaid spending, and it shows up in the federal budget as Medicare, and they're part of Medicaid, it squeezes out everything else. So right now what you see is it's squeezing higher education. You're raising tuitions at the University of California as rapidly as they can, and so the access that used to be available to the middle class or whatever is just rapidly going away. That's a trade-off society is making because of very, very high medical costs and a lack of willingness to say, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called...
Listen to what he's saying here, folks. This was over a decade ago. Listen to this.
Else. So right now what you see is it's squeezing higher education. You're raising tuitions at the University of California as rapidly as they can. And so the access that used to be available to the middle class or whatever is just rapidly going away. That's a trade-off society is making because of very, very high medical costs and a lack of willingness to say, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion. So you, of course,
that's called the death panel, but you're not supposed to have that discussion. Listen to it again. I'm not putting words in his mouth. Listen.
The health outcomes, which are complicated to compare, but the health outcomes are basically slightly worse, both in terms of averages and the inequity. Our bottom quartile is very ugly compared to all other rich countries' bottom quartile. Our upper quartile is somewhat better, but that's how you get the inequity. So we're spending at a huge rate, which if it wasn't increasing faster than inflation, it's increasing as a percentage of the economy, then okay, you can probably afford it. But as it continues to grow, it squeezes, unless people say, yes, I would like to be taxed a lot more. And most states have these super majorities that are required to do that, and it's not likely, and it's not clearly a good thing either.
Hit the like button. I'm gonna need your opinion on this as soon as I get back. All right, I'm gonna play it.
Fora TV. The
Yes,
world
sir.
is thinking.
The proportion of GDP that goes to healthcare, is that overallocated?
Well, the U.S. spends 17% of GDP on healthcare, and you drop down to number 2, which is Switzerland at 12%. And so you say, well, what do we get for that? Well, we get nothing. The health outcomes, which are complicated to compare, but the health outcomes are basically slightly worse, both in terms of averages and the inequity. Our bottom quartile is very ugly compared to all other rich countries' bottom quartile. Our upper quartile is somewhat better, but that's how you get the inequity. So we're spending at a huge rate, which if it wasn't increasing faster than inflation, it's increasing as a percentage of the economy, then okay, you can probably afford it. But as it continues to grow, it squeezes, unless people say, yes, I would like to be taxed a lot more. And most states have these super majorities that are required to do that, and it's not likely, and it's not clearly a good thing either. But as long as you're dealing with a finite amount, as the medical cost goes up, and that shows up both in state budgets as so-called state Medicaid spending, and it shows up in the federal budget as Medicare, and they're part of Medicaid, it squeezes out everything else. So right now what you see is it's squeezing higher education. You're raising tuitions at the University of California as rapidly as they can. And so the access that used to be available to the middle class or whatever is just rapidly going away. That's a trade-off society is making because of very, very high medical costs and a lack of willingness to say, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better not to lay off those 10 teachers and to make that trade-off in medical costs? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion. So of course,
that's an interesting thing you just said, which is just the last 3 months in life for one person or something, because we haven't had a discussion of how to allocate that money. It means we lay off 3 teachers to do so. I mean, in other words, we haven't had this type of allocation.
We're making that trade-off because of huge medical costs that are not examined to see which ones actually have no benefit whatsoever. And because of pension generosity, we will be laying off over 100,000 teachers, which, I'm very much against that. And the whole AFT.
They've already had a plan to get rid of teachers. That's the phase. Right. That's the phase we are in now, Elder Lawya. That's number one. There was just a report that Chapat did in the academy this weekend. He brought the report. When now teachers in New Jersey don't even need to know how to do math, arithmetic, or read. Okay, but they're able to actually become teachers over certain grades. Why? Because eventually it's going to be AI, the computers, directly to the children.
Right.
So they've already started, and the teachers aren't going to be teachers at all. They're just going to be no different than a substitute teacher who would just give you a sheet of paper and say, follow this, and just babysit grown children. So now, they told us a long time ago that the healthcare systems would be making a decision on, what was more financially feasible when it comes to whether keeping someone alive or saving the money to do something else with it by assisting in a person's early death. He stated, it's called the death panel, but people don't want to talk about that. Is this how we're disappearing? Because they're just saying that they're just talking about the elderly right here. Right? But when you open the door, right? What will stop them once it's on the books from switching it to anyone they choose to get rid of early for whatever financial reason? Right? Now, check this out, Elder Rawchaa. This is something interesting in lieu of, and thank you, Brother Leslie, for sending me this, because I want to know, Elder Lawyer, whether or not this particular news, in lieu of what we're dealing with right now, is more important than what's going on with Joy Teller and FS1 with the sex scandal, and or a truck being blown up in front of one of Trump's buildings. Newborn babies, folks. They're not talking about the black babies. Black babies, folks, at a Virginia hospital have been suffering mysterious injuries. A nurse now faces abuse charges. Right? Now check this out. Who is she? Now, why are they focusing us on one thing and not discussing this? Who cares about Joy Teller? She's a grown woman doing what grown women in the corporate world does.
Right.
They got us talking about somebody rolling a car up and rolling somebody over. And guess what? That's bad in of itself. But how do that make national news and not this? Outrage erupts as report shows Virginia nurse was reinstated after 3 babies were injured, leaving 7 total with unexplainable fractures. Why isn't this Elizabeth Ann Strothman? Why aren't we reporting this? Why isn't this plastered all over the news? Why didn't this particular article or this person go viral? Folks, we're talking about black children too. Right? Suffered a fracture. This satanic monster right here. Now, hospitals is a place where we supposed to feel safe. It's a trusted institution, right? We're talking about a trusted institution. Right? One other thing, Elder Lawyer, before I go into these scriptures.
Yes, sir.
One other thing. And there's one other article I have, but I'll bring it up later. I'll bring it up later. But let's get back. Yeah, black boys are receiving fractures by the hands Let me show you. Right here. CNN. Straight satanic nut jobs like this. Intentional. So we're going to talk about it tonight. You sent me something, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir.
All right, hold on. Let me grab it. All right, what we have here, Elder Lawyer?
Yes, sir. Just off the back of the video you showed concerning Bill Gates talking about the death panels, making decisions whether someone lives.
Something is going on with your sound. I don't know what happened here. Has anything changed there?
No, sir.
Okay, you're good now.
How about now? Is this good?
You're good. Go ahead. I'm listening now.
Okay. Yeah, this is just off the back of the Bill Gates video, him talking about death panels, making decisions as to whether someone lives or dies. And I just wanted to bring this up. This is a more recent case from earlier last year. I'm not sure if you remember this one, where it states that a young black man was, he expired in a car crash. And instead of the hospital actually trying to bring him back to life, resuscitate him, bring him back to full health, they concluded that, well, they're not going to let him live because they wanted his organs. So it was like a decision was made on his life. A death panel style decision was made on this young man's life without him or his family being included in the conversation.
I'm going to ask Nathanael to call in too, because he's going to give me the report of what happened during the scare that's called COVID. A report of a brother, strong, healthy brother who was, Nathanael, if you can, I need you to give me the report of that brother that called you and got me on the phone when he went to the hospital because, he's having breathing issues. Nathanael will be able to tell you. And the brother, when the first couple of days when they was talking about, well, if you can't smell or taste, to go to the hospital, right? They were putting that out there.
Right.
And the brother was fine, and he wasn't really he was dealing with more so the fear of what was going on through this mysterious illness and whether or not he had symptoms. He went into panic mode and went to the hospital. Well,
right.
He said there was a lot of weird activity going on there, and they got me on the phone. And the Thunderzar was like, they said that they got to give him a shot. If he don't get this shot, then he's going to die, quote unquote. Someone told him that in Florida hospital. The Thunderzar, if you're out there, call my cell phone real quick. And I said, well, listen, I don't know what's going on. I asked the brother, I'm like, is the brother healthy? Are you okay? The brother said, yeah, I'm healthy. I'm like, if I was you, I would leave from that place, go home, pray a little bit, get a second opinion. What happens? I said straight up what he should do. 3 days later, he's on a ventilator. And strong brother, young brother. Next week, gone. Family of black teen killed in car crash accuses hospital instead of saving the boy. We did a story on this. Letting him die. This is Yahoo News. To harvest his organs. Folks, if you can accomplish getting rid of a people right up under everyone's noses without any pushback, what need you of a standing army or NATO troops to come in and do it? It's unnecessary. What we need to look into is who's providing these services to us. Who's providing services to us in these trusted positions? Knowing the landscape, the dynamics of what's going on. And guess what? I'm not saying hospitals and or doctors aren't needed.
Right.
They are needed. Okay? See, but that's what makes this, more concerning than anything, because it's an area that we can seldom escape from. It's something that it's a necessity to actually live in an emergency situations.
Right.
But think about it. You think they didn't know that if they could get in this sector, the effect it could do when it comes to helping with depopulation? So when I'm looking at this, are black men disappearing? What are we to do knowing that what? Again, hit the like button. Y'all just came in. Y'all doing a great job. I'm about 400-500 down. Y'all doing a great job. What are we to do knowing that what? For those who just missed it, a refresher. What are we to do when, as of December 17th, this article came out? Niskanen Center, immigration is a solution to healthcare workforce shortages. What are we to do when they're saying the only way to help the healthcare systems in America going forward is to bring in foreign people who has no emotional attachment to us? I need y'all to think about that. So when certain things are suggested that might not be in our interest, do you think any of these new people who are here in America, happy to have a job, you think they're going to push back? If their bosses suggest they do this, that, or the other, especially when it comes to our people? Right? And again, for those who missed it, John Hopkins study points to medical errors as America's third leading cause of death. Folks, Elder Lawya, let's get Isaiah 3 real quick.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm just hearing about people just falling out for no reason at all right now. And I'm like, well, hold up. The news is having us believe that we should be concerned about who the grown Joy Teller is sleeping with, on a sports talk show.
Right.
They're making us believe that that's something that should interest us. That's something we should feel a certain type of way about. And listen, I worked in the corporate world. I mean, how many people since Julius Caesar? How many women since Julius Caesar this has happened with? Okay, so what are you talking about here? And then they want us to look at a Tesla truck blowing up or someone rolling down the street and make us believe it's the end of the world. All these stuff rolling down the street, rolling people over, when we're dropping like flies under the trusted care of hospitals. Not my opinion. John Hopkins study points to medical errors as America's third leading cause of death. So it's saying that mistakes in the hospital is the third leading cause of death in America. So you have a greater chance dying from this. There's a greater chance of you dying from this than someone rolling a car on you. Than a terrorist, than you being a part of a terrorist act and you dying that way. But why no one is paying attention to this? I submit that when Alex Jones and them was talking about this years ago, about some foreign people coming in and will be a NATO troops that's going to round Americans up, and because they have no emotional attachment to Americans, I submit that the army is already here. Okay? But not in the uniform they told us they would be wearing. Huh? When you have people, let me go back here. When you have people like this, the army is already here. Folks, don't forget. Don't forget how Pharaoh operated and Pharaoh's initiatives in Egypt and how it went down. They wanted to get in front of our people multiplying. The agreement was to say, listen, let's break the midwives off with something if they can kill the male child at birth and let the girls live. And then you got this demon right here. And look at his baby. She's breaking the baby's bones, black children. But yet they want us to talk about a Tesla car that blew up. While black men are disappearing, falling out, dying, and guess what? Without any fanfare, without any public attention at all. Is this intentional? If not, why aren't they reporting it? Elder Lawya.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Isaiah 3 real quick. I'm going to open up the lines after this.
Gone. All right, Isaiah 3, you want it from the top?
Let's go from the top.
Yes, sir. Isaiah 3:1. For behold, the Lord of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water, the mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet, and the prudent and the ancient, the captain of 50, and the honorable man, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator. And I will give children to be their princes, and babes shall rule over them.
And babes shall rule over them. Kids running amok, out of control, indoctrinated in America to believe they know more than their parents. And they're being told this in schools. They're being indoctrinated to believe that they're better and or no more than their parents. Babes are running roughshod, just as the Most High said it would be. Read.
5. And the people shall be oppressed, everyone by another, and everyone by his neighbor. The child shall behave himself proudly against the ancient, and the base against the honorable.
You would have a society where people would believe what? The child will behave himself proudly against the ancient. They'll believe that there's no difference between a young buck and an elder. And they'll operate as such. And the base against the honorable. You have people who aren't about nothing who will be telling people who've achieved something, you're no different than me. No lines between what's wrong and what's right. No lines at all. Total blurred lines. Where everyone will believe that all things are subjective and we all have an opinion without a pecking order. Totally out of order, God said we would be. Read.
When a man shall take hold of his brother of the house of his father, saying, Thou his clothing, be thou our ruler, and let this ruin be under thy hand. And that day shall he swear, saying, I will not be an healer, for in my house is neither bread nor clothing. Make me not a ruler of the people.
Make me not a ruler of the people. So you're going to have a man going to another man and say, listen, let me be up under your house. Things are so bad out here.
Mm-hmm.
You notice they cutting off all the opportunity for us, at the same time promoting that what? The scarcity in all of these fields be manned by outsiders. At the same time, telling our people here in America, there's nothing for us financially. This is what the Bible is talking about. Everything is for the others who's willing to undermine and or destroy us as mercenaries from the inside, and no one is talking about it. Everyone suspects that something is going on, but don't want to admit it. You see it, but don't want to express what you're seeing. Brothers are dying like flies, folks. Every time I call, there's another brother, somebody I knew. And then I asked the same question. Well, did they take that thing? Yeah, they took 2 or 3 of them. And then there's some suspicious stuff going on when we do check in healthy into some of these places for help. 8, read 8.
Yes, sir, verse 8. For Jerusalem is ruined, and Judah is fallen, because their tongue and their doings are against the Lord.
They won't come back. Read.
To provoke the eyes of his glory.
Read.
The show of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom.
And they declare their sin as Sodom. You don't have any of our people pushing back with the fact that they're promoting our men as gay men as the norm. There's no community pushback. Nothing, folks, there's gay people amongst every race of people.
Right.
But you don't see any other race promoting that as the example of what? They're powerful. The powerful of their specific race. You got grown men in the music business from the streets. From the streets. I'm talking about our people. Get in position and get in front of Vlad and get in front of these other guys and state, well, listen, if you really want to make it in this business, you have to be able to go through the gay mafia. I've never heard a white man say in order for him to be somewhere that he have to be compromised that way, or any other race of people. And we don't even realize what we're saying when we state that publicly, that we are underlings and we are being broken by the sodomites and are willing to admit that publicly. Check that out. And guess what? I see some of the value in the history when Tariq made that video, buck breaking and all these other things. Tariq Nasheed, when he made that. But then I had to step back and examine that again. Okay, so you know this exists, and we call ourselves men and aren't willing to get in front of it and change everything concerning that? And actually come against those that are looking to compromise our young men? We'll talk about the buck breaking and all that, but if we're men, shouldn't we get rid of the buck breakers? So the other nations is looking at that as, okay, these men are weak. They can do a history on buck breaking, on how they've been buck breaking by other men, but yet, why don't they just get rid of these predators who's compromising their sons? I need y'all to think about that for a moment. And that's why the Bible states this. A show of their countenance do witness against them. That what?
And they declare their sin as Sodom.
As Sodom, read.
They hide it not.
And they hide it not. Go around bragging about what? the Black Hollywood, Black Atlanta, and here it is. There's more black rich people, per capita in Atlanta compared to any other state. And what is Atlanta known for? So what are we bragging about? So obviously, if we begin to promote Sodom and Gomorrah, the capital of Sodom and Gomorrah for our people, the Bible states that the wages of sin is death. Eventually, you're going to start disappearing. See? Now, I'm not blaming the hospitals for doing what they said they're going to do, especially when it comes to our people. But we have to also look at the judgment side of this too. Because if we were aware, following the Most High's law, on code with one another, guess what? They wouldn't be able to do anything they're doing. They wouldn't be able to replace us. They wouldn't be able to bring other people in to replace us. We would be in front of it all like we were in the 60s. Now the enemy have already taken root in every high position in proximity of our people. And it's strategic, and it's everything the Bible said would happen. Woe, come on.
Woe unto their soul.
Come on.
For they have rewarded evil unto themselves. Say ye to the righteous, that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doing.
It says, and the Bible says, say ye to the righteous that it shall be well with him. If we do right by God, there's nothing we can stop. There's nothing we can do nothing we can do to stop this downward spiral. It's too late to fix. Folks, there is no more black community. How hard it is for me to say that. It's gone. All the people that we look to and respected, who could hold things together, who would stand before us, are gone. Even the people we grew up with, our aunts and uncles and all that, I'm hearing right now, and as I call around, out of nowhere, gone. Say you to the righteous that it shall be well with him, for they shall eat the fruit of their doings. If we do right by God, we'll scarcely make it through. 11.
Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hand shall be given him. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them.
As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. And you know why? Because we have a society that tells us, only with our people, that that's okay. Okay? And guess what? The people in society, everyone knows this to be true. It's what they're not saying. Okay? It's not what they're not saying this aloud, but they know this is how it is. As my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. Okay? Women in our society know how much power they're given to oppress and to emasculate their man. It's second nature. Okay, and it's become so common that it happens without anybody thinking that it's offensive. It's so common. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them, which is women disrespect them. Don't even think twice, because it's become the norm. It becomes normal to disrespect your man. Read.
O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err.
And the people we trust to give us information that could help us intentionally tell us things that'll make our lives harder. You would think all of the experience we have concerning what not to do, that we would get in front of this with our children, men with the sons, and elder women with the daughters, and say, do not go down my path. And then I'm hearing elder women online talking about sprinkle, how to get how many sugar daddies you can pick up, and how to get a man to send you money first. And I'm listening to this. And I'm like, what? The people who we trust that have the experience, the aged experience, you can't even trust the elder men and women to steer the next generation away from their mistakes. O my people, they which lead thee, cause thee to err, and destroy
the way of thy paths.
And destroy the way of thy paths. Because the youth be looking to the elders to give them wisdom, guidance. But not if you're trying to compete with the youth instead of guiding them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's going on. No one wants to grow to the age of wisdom to teach the younger. Everyone wants to stay kids. No one wants to grow to the age to guide anyone. (13)
The Lord standeth up to plead, and standeth to judge the people. The Lord will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people, and the princes thereof. For ye have eaten up the vineyard. The spoil of the poor is in your houses. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces, and grind the faces of the poor, saith the Lord God of hosts? Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a twinkling with their feet.
Now check it out. It first started talking about what? The men not having anything and having to be up under another man to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Which is humbling in of itself, because no man really want to be dependent on another man. So I see a lot of people, when they go to this chapter, they go straight to the women. And they don't go to the fact that the men are compromised. And through that, the children and women have become the rulers over the men. And now the women have been propped up under the government and under the power structure to do whatever they want without any regulation. A domino effect. It started off with the man saying, well, let me get up under another man. See? I'll be your servant as a man, instead of standing on 2 feet and saying, you know what? I'm going to be the man that the Most High made me to have something for my community. Okay? Now it says, because of this, it says, moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty. What's haughty? High-minded. High-minded. When you go into haughty, let me read this real quick. Haughty. Lofty. Exalt. High. Lifted up. Proud. A sense of entitlement. Sense of entitlement. Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks, and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, that means switching, and making a tinkling with their feet. Read.
Therefore the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts.
And that's crystal clear. That's crystal clear. That's self-evident of what those scriptures are saying. I'll take away the glory of the woman, which is her hair. I'll take it away.
Mm-hmm.
Read.
18. And that day the Lord will make or take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their calls, and their round tires like the moon.
And it's talking about those big earrings. We grew up seeing those big earrings hanging off the ear too, right? Come on. I mean, the earlobe is hanging all the way down here. I used to see those big earrings, right? Like the moon. Mm-hmm. Read.
The chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen, and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be a stink. And instead of a girdle, a rent. And instead of a well-set hair, baldness. And instead of a stomacher, a girdling of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty.
The Lord says, I'm going to change the whole makeup. The natural beauty will be gone. Instead of that snatched stomach, I'm going to have it go out. Because all of that was adding to the hardiness of the women. And it started having a trickle-down effect on the children, where now, what? The children don't respect the father at all, because they see that there's no respect coming to him through the mother. This our community is utterly decimated. So why should I go to him for anything when if he's not respected by her, then anything I want, I'm going to do what? I'm going to go to her and play them against one another, and the whole house is out of order. The whole community goes out of order. Read the 25th verse, and here's the point I wanted to make. Read.
Yes, sir. 25. Thy men shall fall by the sword.
Thy men shall fall by the sword. You're going to look up and the men are dying. Read.
And thy mighty men in the war.
In the war. And everyone thinks war is just a physical war, folks. That's just the end result of the final war when it becomes physical. But folks, there's many levels to war. Psychological war, biological war, and Esau is the cunning hunter. He'd rather war with you like that to get you out of the way, so to not engage you in the physical war. Okay? We've been in a war since the fall of Jerusalem. It's called the desolation of abomination. And we will be in that war until desolations end. So Esau don't care whether or not it's through a gun, a sword, or convince you to off yourself. You're in a war. I'll just say there's something outside. You have to come get something to protect yourself from. And then you're scared up. Here it is. It's all in your mind that something is going on. And you run to somebody and get poisoned. Next thing you know, boom. you cease to exist. Esau would rather to take you out in war like that than having to engage you. He'd rather go get some mercenaries from somewhere else and put a white jacket on them instead of putting a gun in someone's hands, because you ain't going to trust the person with the gun in their hands. See how it works? It's a war. And this is where we are. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and what? And thy mighty men in the war. So that means what? Mm-hmm. Then at this point, there's a dearth for men. You're going to look up, no men anywhere. You're not going to realize that they've been dying right up under our noses quietly, because why? The news refused to report it. They don't want to pay it. They don't want to put attention on what's really going on and what people are truly getting targeted. It's going flawlessly as they plan. God's people dying right up under the noses of everyone without anyone even realizing that it was all a part of a plan. (26)
Yes, sir. 26. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground.
And she being desolate, speaking of Israel, shall sit on the ground with nothing. 4:1.
In that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread.
Listen, I got my own job. I got my own money. I got my own house.
And wear our own apparel.
You don't got to buy me nothing. Read.
Only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach.
Protect us. We all sat back, and the men disappeared. And now there's no one left to protect the women. Now listen, let me go get up under some man somewhere, because I didn't know that they were playing all of us, that we were all getting played. And at the end of it, it was about destroying the full family of Israel. And it says, let us take away, please, it says, only let us be called by thy name to take away thy reproach. The reproach is what? All the men disappearing. It's happening right now. And they've already, through predictive programming, programmed us to accept a society where there's a lack of black men. Through predictive programming. All their programming is showing what? Showing, believe it or not, black men are being phased out altogether. I need y'all to check out the actors they're hiring now. The actresses they're hiring now. You notice that they're hiring from the outside of America when it comes to actors and actresses?
Mm-hmm.
Because they understand, folks. They know that there's something special about Judah who was able to fight through every level of what became America up until this time, and what creates and how that created something else when it comes to warrior being able to stand against injustices. And they don't need someone like that with influence. Who through our genetics, we were born to fight against injustice because we had to. There was no other place for us to go. And they cannot fight against that. They cannot win against that because that comes from someplace else. That valor and that fight comes from Christ. I'm going to tell you right now. So what they did, they said, you know what? We're going to have to replace them and find a way to systematically put them down without anyone suspecting anything, right up under their noses, and they'll never know. And you know what? What's the guy who did that movie, Elder Lawya, Get Out?
Man, I forget his name. The guy from Key and Peele.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Jordan Peele. That brother's, I'm gonna tell you, he be dropping some stuff. Did you notice in that movie Us, where, and I hope I'm not spoiling this for those that are out there. In the movie,
I never saw it, so you may be spoiling it for me.
Okay, well, I'll just say this. There's some identical people in the basement, a black family, but they look exactly like the family upstairs. That's what I'm gonna tell you, right? You with it?
I know where you're going.
But really, they're there to terrorize and undermine and destroy the people of the house. But no one can recognize it because they look just like the people who was there from the beginning to buy the house, to build the house. So they have no vested interest. Their whole thing is to undermine and destroy those in the house so that they can have so that they can take their place. But he did it in a horror setting. But really, he was sending a political message. The political message he was sending was, hey, they're going to get some people from the basement or from other places that's going to terrorize you because they want your position. And they'll be willing to do it because where they come from is lacking. And if it means having to make that person a nurse to make some room for her, for the likes of her and others like her, then they'll do it. If it means them getting in a political position to harm Judah and Israel to get a few dollars to undermine, they'll do it. And guess who's pulling the strings the whole time? Amalek. Amalek. Let me tell you, that's deep what he dropped in that movie. The same way with the first one, Get Out. That was very deep. But the question is, brothers and sisters, can y'all see our people disappearing? And the reason why people don't recognize Judah's disappearing in America, Elder Lawya, is because they see other black people.
Right. Right.
But then you have to ask, how many generations of these black people have actually been here in America?
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you, Judah is disappearing. So what are we going to do to get in front of this? And is there any way we can navigate through it? Anything you want to say, Elder Lawya?
No, sir. Let's go straight to the cause. I want to hear some of the commentary from the guest or from the people.
All right, 515-605-9327. And I was thinking about this because finally our people are asking the right questions and are speaking. Oh my goodness, look at this. Someone said alarming number of missing black boys in Canada. The bishop from Canada says there's an alarming number of missing black boys in Canada right now. Send me a matter of fact, I think I have it. And no one is talking about none of this. Hold on. One second. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Let me pull this up. The brother just sent this to me. 515-605-9327. Here it is here. Interesting. Are they putting us down?
We have a serious...
Are they putting us down in these institutions of help? Gonna put that question out there. Here it is, Elder Lawyer.
Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heart.
Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Download our
fair use, fair use.
News Channel app now on Google Play
fair
and
use.
Apple App Store.
Fair use.
We have a serious problem in Ontario. There has been a very disturbing amount of young black males that have gone missing in and around Ontario between October and December of this year. We have Kimani Langley. He's 16 years old, last seen on October 21st in Brampton, Ontario. We have Al Pacino McNaught. He's 25 years old, last seen in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario on October 19th. We have Michael. They did not reveal his last name, but he's 15 years old, and it was published on November 12th that he was last seen in Whitby, Ontario. We have Aiden. He's 15 years old. He was last seen on November 7th in Ajax, Ontario. We have Trey Sean. He's 15 years old. He was last seen on November 17th in Toronto, Ontario. And then we have Malachi, 15 years old, last seen on December 1st in Toronto, Ontario. So that's 6 young black males that have gone missing. And if you noticed, the ages for the vast majority of them are between 15 and 16 years old. This is a problem. What are the police doing? Where are these young boys? Why are they all missing? And so many in such a short period of time. What's going on here? And what can we do as a community to help? First, we have to make sure that we keep our eyes and ears open. We definitely do everything we can to protect our young brothers. And also, if you've seen anything or heard anything, please, please, please contact your local Toronto or wherever you are in Ontario police station or Crime Stoppers, 1-800-222-TIPS, and please report. If you see anything suspicious, if you hear anything suspicious, please, please speak up. This is very, very disturbing, and I can only imagine the angst and the pain that the families of these young brothers are going through, not knowing where they are, not knowing what's happening, what the update is, if there are any updates, what are the police doing. So we as a community have to stand up and do what we can to help bring these boys home. Because at the end of the day, and we know this, I'm talking to my people, we are all that we have. So we have to rise up and do everything we can. So you see these pictures, you have their names, you know where they were last seen. So please, let's come together and bring these boys home. And as I said, let's continue to be what they say in our community, which is it takes a village, right? So let's, as you know, as Black people, let's be that village. Let's rise up and let's keep an eye out on our young Black youth, because there's a pattern here and it's really, really troubling me. So let's get together. Let's please work and hope and pray for these families and for these young boys and this one young man, that they are okay and that they will be found safe and sound. Let me know what you all think about this family.
That's deep. The brother from Toronto just sent that. He didn't even know what the topic was this evening, but that was apropos to end this before bringing in the calls. What are we going to do? Because here it is. What are we going to do, and what are we going to do to really put precautions in place, knowing that we're getting targeted. We're being targeted. 515-605-9327. Let me call in. Blog Talk isn't working.
We are sorry, but we are experiencing a problem with our system. Please try your call again later or report a problem through the BlogTalkRadio webpage.
To start your show now, press 1. To hear important instructions, press 2.
Elder Rawchaa says, nah. So they're not even going to give us January 31st, huh?
Wow.
Don't worry about it. We'll do Zoom. That's fine. That's fine. I'll do Zoom. I'll put in the Zoom link.
We are sorry, but we are experiencing a problem with our system.
I bet you are.
Please try your call again later or report a problem through the BlogTalkRadio webpage.
To start your show now, press 1.
I'm going to show you how we do that there.
2.
Yeah. Well, hey, we better use these this technology while we can, and link our people in, because who knows where this stuff is going when it comes to shutting stuff down without warning. Right? We're going to talk about this. Right? And I'm going to get a different type of number, probably a call-in switchboard that I can do ourselves. So I'm going to work on that ourselves. AC, let's see if we can find something outside of Blog Talk for a for radio switchboard. When you get an opportunity, we'll have our own radio switchboard and call into a number that belongs to us going forward. Blog Talk, I mean, it has served its usefulness. Let me see. Okay, this is interesting. This is, hey, when you get a chance, Ramar, I need you to come on to Zoom and discuss what you just sent me. Interesting. Very interesting. Hit the like button, folks. We're still here. Blessed by the best. And his name is Ahia. Now, come on. Yeah, I'll try it that way. All right. All right, we'll do Zoom. I'll do it that way. Copy link. Main. All right. All right, here is, for those who would like to come in, here's a Zoom link. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Make sure you hit the like button. And yes, we have a new Hebrew and Bible Academy coming up in a few weeks. And please enroll. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. I'd rather you enroll early so that we don't have to worry about trying to get you in the last minute. The last moment when the academy begins in a few weeks. So if this interests you, go to historytimes.org, okay? I'm trying to find the comment section here. Oh my goodness. Hold on, folks. I'm having an issue with my computer here. Some weird stuff. Go live. 1 second. Oh, there it is. All right. The link is right there in your chat for those who would like to come in through Zoom. We have to take some precautions because based on Elder Lawya, remember I was saying it years ago, and I talked about this. If you're there, are you there? Elder Lawya? Let me get Elder Lawya here. Resume. There it is. Are you there, Lawya?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
You can bring your video in. Unmute, if you will.
Yes, sir.
All right. I was saying during the immigration thing when it was happening years ago, I said that we need to really keep our eyes on this based on the fact that when these people come over, there have been a lot of reports, even overseas when it comes to Israel and other countries, about how vast the organ harvesting field is, how concerning the people are in other parts of the world when it comes to organ harvesting. And I was stating that when a lot of these people come over here and need to make some money, it's going to be nothing for them to grab a few people for organs because this was something they were used to where they came from. Right? So we got to keep our head on a swivel, especially for the younger people. Right? And that also means that the young men gonna have to listen too, when it's suggested that they not go certain places, right?
Right.
Yes. Someone's there waiting. Let's go here. Okay, Sydney Sheed. And please make sure you hit the audio. Hit the audio when you come in for your device. Okay, Sydney, can you unmute, please?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Sydney? Thanks for calling. Well, not calling. Thanks for popping up. What say you? Do you usually call in? Do you usually call in through Blog Talk?
I've called in once before, Elder. Shalom.
Shalom, sister. What say you?
I just wanted to say thank you for this lesson tonight and give praises to the Most High. I wanted to just share really briefly, if that's all right, about when I came into the truth. At the same time, I had started a documentary project about Black masculinity, and prior to that, I had studied sociology, and so I did some research, and I wrote about Black masculinity as well. And so I decided to feature some men that I knew in my community, and I wanted to highlight, their lives and as fathers and husbands and the positive things they were doing with the community. And I was able to do this. Some folks decided that they would do the filming for me for free. And then once 2020 came around and everything with the cold and the George Floyd and everything, then I started to get, and a lot of pandering and things like that in the media. I started to receive grant funding from my organizations in town and from the state, and just all this attention about the film, and just different things that they were doing, highlighting Black artists and things like that. But they wanted to make it about me instead of about the Black men. And then once they did feature certain things, they would always insert like Greek organizations and different things that I had not included, along with, promoting the film. And then they used my likeness without my permission, my image, and put me in the Sunday paper and talked about the film incorrectly and said it was about art in the Black community. And then once all of that stuff, and this took me about 5 years. So throughout this process, I left the Christian church, and the Most High had revealed the truth to me about who we are through YouTube videos with the brother that he's passed now. I can't think of his name at the moment. And so I just think that it's all really interesting. So I was always asking why, because I wanted to make the film, because I said if people could have empathy for the Black man, then they could have empathy for anyone. And so I wanted to showcase that and to showcase that beauty. And then I started to wonder, well, why am I not getting the support? The people in my film, I've got the right people, I've got the right musicians, I know all the right people in town that are producers and all these things, because I live in Nebraska, so it's not that big where I live. And so I know all the right people and I knew all the things, and I was like, why isn't this working? And I just had to kind of set it down. And then the cold happened, and I found the church, and I got baptized, and I just set it down, and I said, and none of those men are in the truth, and I just didn't want to be trying to chase that media and the Hollywood and all of that. Okay. It was never about that anyway, but I had just set it down and said, whatever is supposed to happen will happen. So now that I'm saying that, I actually have some peace and closure about that project. All praises, because it was a lot of work, and I was just trying to understand why, and now I see why it's intentional, why we are put in the media the way we are, and why we don't hear those stories, and why that example is not what they want to come out, and even learning more tonight and seeing how it aligns with scripture. So I'm just very grateful. But I just wanted to share that, and thank you.
Well, you're welcome, sister. And guess what? There's so many of our people, and it's not recognized through media, who's trying to do everything they can to help our people to sustain as a community, but there is no political advantage for that when it comes to those who are in office. It's as if there's no money for that for them. It's as if they know that the only way that they'll get any financial support, politically and otherwise, is to help get rid of our people. And that's the sad part about it. Our representatives and those in place, you may have a program and all that would be more so promoting and or backing the young men to build the community like it used to be, and they'll see that as a threat. They won't tell you that that's not the agenda, right? But it's good. But it's good to know, because a lot of sisters support brothers and are pillars in the community, but they will never have sisters like you, right, on CNN or other places speaking of programs that you're thinking to do to empower our people. But if you were to do the same thing and say it was an LGBTQ initiative, cameras will be everywhere in front of your house and all that. So,
yes, sir. And I was approached. Folks asked me if I was queer, and I knew it was because if I said yes, I would have been able to get the funding I needed.
Look at that.
And I also want to say, I'm sorry.
Lawyer, you hear this?
Excuse me?
Yes, sir.
No, I'm asking Lawyer, do we hear this? But go on.
Yes, sir.
But I also made a mistake. One of the first gentlemen that I did interview, he did find out that we were the tribe of Judah. He's kind of gone in a different path, but I was incorrect by saying that none of them knew the truth. But he found out later on as well. But I just wanted to make that correction. But yeah, they asked me, and it was 3 different individuals, and they were looking at me waiting for the answer, and I was like, oh no. And they were like, oh, okay. And I could tell it was like they were trying to like put me on, like, but yeah. So, and we can see that really clearly now, that to be successful in that community, you have to be part of both of those communities.
They told a pastor that I grew up with, Lewis Nash. He came on one of our broadcasts. I don't know if you heard that. And he was in a position to do city council. He says his Jewish mover and shaker came to him. He volunteered the information that the guy was Jewish, who was a political mover and shaker in Philadelphia. And he told Lou Nash, he says, listen, you got the position on city council, right? We'd rather have you. You're a pastor, you're a pillar in the community, everyone know your work here. And we would rather back you. And I'll tell you right now, you got the position on city council. But I need you to go on record to say that you're willing to pass the transgender initiative that we have going into the schools. And he says, if you get behind that, then I can tell you, you a shoe-in. And he says, but if you don't do this, it's okay, because there's other guys on your heels that we got from Houston. Come to find out, the dude from Houston he's a gay. He's just outright gay, unapologetic about it, from Houston. That they moved him from Houston into Philadelphia, and he got the position. He's not even from Philadelphia. He's from Houston. They moved him from Houston into Philadelphia, and he's on city council with the position that they would have gave the pastor if the pastor would have just agreed to just allow that legislation to go through. See?
My goodness.
Yeah, that's what we're up against. That's what we're up against. It's a shame.
From an entirely different city.
And the guy's not even from Philadelphia. Excuse me. He's no, you'll see him on MSNBC. He's a pundit. He's been on CNN and all of that. They moved him from Houston to pass something for Philadelphians. Right? So thank you, sister. You can let yourself out. I really appreciate you.
All praises. Thank you, elders.
You're welcome. I really appreciate it. I'm looking for this one right here. I think this is it.
Peace band are supposed to have a
No, we're not going to do that. Seems like she seemed like they scrubbed the internet for that. There was this Israeli consulate who said that the black youth is a serious threat. The black youth of the United States is a serious threat. This Israeli woman said this. And I cannot find the video anywhere. I don't know if YouTube scrubbed it. Interesting. Censorship is on, I'll tell you that. But anyway, let's get to the next. Okay, we have a few people in here. I'll see you, Kayem. I'll bring you in one moment. We have Elder Rawchaa. Shalom, Elder Rawchaa. How are you?
Hey, shalom, Elder. How elders? How are y'all doing?
We're blessed.
Shalom.
Yeah, you
all praise.
Yeah, you sent something I was interested in. If you can share that with the brothers and sisters, if you will.
Absolutely. I was trying to find that Israel council with the black youth. I was trying to find that also real quick. I'll keep looking for that.
Yeah, if you find it, send it to me, okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can track that down. Yeah, the first thing I had sent, I wasn't sure if you were aware of the bird flu. They just reported the first alleged death of that. So that was the first thing I had sent you.
Yeah.
And I've been hearing some rumblings.
So yeah, that's one death, right?
Yeah, just one death.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how that's more alarming than what I'm reporting on tonight.
Exactly.
There's more deaths that comes with medical errors than somebody dying of a bird flu. Right?
Exactly.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm sorry if someone died of bird flu, but I don't understand. How is that so deep when it's okay for a woman to get rid of her baby in the womb? Like, I'm trying to really logically get an understanding on what is the moral compass of the world when a scare with a bird flu, if it exists, needs to garner more attention than what we are exhibiting, the deaths we're witnessing right now when it comes to people getting rid of their own children in the womb. And also, number 3, the third cause of death in the United States is through medical error. Not through black on black crime, not through terrorism, not through anything, going to the hospital to get a procedure and the procedure goes wrong.
Yeah, not bird flu.
Not bird flu. So you sent it?
Yes, I sent it to you.
Oh, you gave me the link. All right, great. I want people to see this. Thank you for that. Let me see if it'll work. Oh, yeah, this is it. This is it. Now, maybe this has something to do with it, right? What is this? Pray tell. Well, this is an Israeli consulate by the name of Judith Vernay Shore. Well, she didn't know she was being recorded, and she claimed this is the threat Israel should be concerned about. All the way over from Israel, right? She claimed this is the threat we should be concerned about. Check this out. Fair use for educational purposes only.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community. Black Lives Matter starts there. I had the major
Hold on, let me get it again.
problem of
Hold on.
Israel is.
Let me get it again.
Generation of the black.
I'm gonna read it if y'all don't hear it.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community.
Hold up, look at what it says there. Look at what it says there. Now, this is a meeting they were having amongst the Israelis. Amongst the Israelis, this was their concern, right? Around the same time they were allowing immigrants into the country to replace us, right? Look at this. Blow it up so you all can see it. She claimed that the major problem, this woman here, right? The major problem with Israel, the state of Israel, is with the young generation of the black community. How is that a concern amongst the elites who plan things? Well, we're not bothering these people. So if this is how they think, what measures have they put in place to solve their problem is the question. Is what I'm talking about tonight, can it be in direct link to them claiming that our youth are a problem? In their secret meetings, crafty counsel.
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community. Black Lives Matter starts.
Black Lives Matter don't start with us because it was the media who created Black Lives Matter and hired 3 Marxist Satanists to lead a campaign to undermine true issues that were going on in the black community. Okay, everyone know that Black Lives Matter is a wing of the DNC and was funded through the DNC to cause Marxist chaos, to have some disruption during the election.
Black community. Black Lives Matter starts there.
Judah Varney Shora is the Israeli consul general in Atlanta.
I had last week a dinner, sit-down dinner at my house with 30 people, which are considered the leadership of the black community.
Which I considered the leadership of the black community.
And it's very important people. They can be part of our doing an activity.
So they're going to put leaders and say they can be a part of our doing in activities. So yeah. Listen.
Dr. Clarence B. Jones, who wrote the draft speech for Martin Luther King, I Have a Dream. He was his lawyer, he was his close friend, he's somebody that I reached out to, he became a very good.
Why is they so concerned with us? You notice this, folks? We're not even thinking about these people. But you all know the answer. They know that we are the children of Israel. Yes, Elder Rawchaa, what say you? Anything else?
Yes, sir. So, a couple things on the bird flu real quick is I've been hearing rumblings that they were talking about, allegedly the next pandemic aligning with, Trump coming into office, as well as now when I go to the store, they're putting limits on how much eggs you can buy at the store now because of the culling of the chickens. I think California did a national emergency a few weeks ago, and so now they're culling a bunch of chickens. So now egg shortages, chicken shortages, so now they're putting caps at the grocery stores with what you can get when it comes to those things. And then the other thing was the so-called terrorist that happened in New Orleans, allegedly. He was supposed to be from Houston. And remember, Elder, from the very beginning, you said that watch how it starts with Al-Qaeda, Arabs with turbans on, and ends up transitioning to Israelites with mitris on. And you look at this guy, and they're looking more and more like us, right? But we know they're not us. They're not us, but they're trying to look more and more like a brother. But Greg Abbott, just a couple days ago, on his Twitter, he's put out a whole new slew of just orders when it comes to all this. He said terrorism has no place in Texas. Directed DPS today to search Texas Anti-Terrorism Task Force resources to aggressively combat radical jihadist terrorism. Law enforcement at all levels must collaborate to eliminate radicalization that can lead to terrorist attacks, not to deal with the attacks when they happen, but to eliminate radicalization that can lead to the attack. So what does that sound like? Minority Report, anybody?
Yep.
Where they're looking to nip it in the bud before it happens. Well, if you read this literature here, Elder, it reads almost like you're looking at people that would go to church, those who attend churches and gatherings, those who are coming to practice their beliefs and faiths. Like, what is the definition of radical jihadism? What is that? What is even that definition? So, and we're not looking to hurt anybody. We just want to serve our God, right? But just the language of this just spells and reeks of, kind of what you pointed out so many years ago with where this ends.
And it doesn't matter what they put out there. It all circles right back to them attacking us. That's why I want brothers and sisters focused to be on the prophetic purpose for their attacks. Because it's misdirection. Esau is the cunning hunter. He'll never let you know that you're the one getting hunted. So you have misdirection with all these other stories while he's attacking the target demographic. That's why we have to stay on our P's and Q's. That's deep that you're talking about this with the eggs. A sister said she went to Costco and they were out of eggs. So there's another thing that happens with this, goes into the 12 parts, is famine. When if they can call bird flu, then they can do a what? Artificial scarcity. Right?
Exactly.
Artificial scarcity. They can claim, well, we had to get rid of the eggs, even if nothing is wrong with the eggs, so that now it starves out the people. Go on.
How blessed is it for a person who has chickens in these times in their yard where they have their food. They don't have to worry about this, and more into us becoming self-sustaining to where these things won't even really, affect us.
Yeah.
But they're also transitioning because they're also saying that the cows are also getting the bird flu. So we have to get rid of dairy and the beef. But somehow, some way, Elder, the pigs are fine and safe. They're not catching it. The horses are fine. All the unclean animals that we wouldn't look to eat anyway are safe.
Yeah.
Only the ones that are clean that we would eat, those are the ones that are catching it.
Only the good food supply. You can get all the shrimp and lobster you want.
Exactly.
All the crustaceans. You can get some clams. You can get mussels. You can get all the pig you want. Right? So obviously, you can see they're targeting the food that the Most High said is clean. And above all, we know why they put that stuff out there. Artificial scarcity. They can make an excuse to why there's no food for the people to eat. Okay, so yeah,
inflation.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to the farm. Get me some eggs. Elder Lawya, yeah. Elder Lawya
I'm gonna wrap it up.
He got those chickens happening. I'm gonna tell you, I got a coop too. Soon as spring hit, I'm getting me some fresh chickens. All right, hey, it's going down like Charlie Brown. Thank you, young man. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. All praise and blessings.
You don't got to go anywhere. Just put it on mute, and I'll bring someone else in if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
All right. And another thing they do, okay, if you got the Marxists operating, we know the Democrats is really the Marxist wing of the government. They're Marxists. So what they do is they cause chaos, so to have reason to claim that something was wrong with this administration to get voted in on the next go around. So if there's some chaos going on, you know it's the Marxists. It's probably the demo nuts. Okay? Let's go here real quick. Amanda Hunter, then Cayenne. A matter of fact, Candace, you're next in line, then Cayenne. How you doing, Candace? And make sure you please, I need you to please unmute as you come in. Yes, Candace.
Hello, Elder.
How are you?
Shalom. I'm doing well.
Good for you. Blessings. Talk to us.
Listen. So I wanted to comment. I normally call in during the academy. This is my first time on your weekly listen that I've called in, but normally I call in on academy sometimes.
Thank you.
And the message that you had tonight, it really resonated with me because back in 2020, and I know we have to censor ourselves on what we can say on YouTube, I wasn't in this truth. And so listening to other people, I did, and along with my mother, who is no longer here with us.
So you said so you went and got the Jim Jones juice, the shot.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Go on.
Yes. I haven't had any adverse side effects. All praises. Since my shot.
How many did you get? Honestly.
I got 3 of them.
Lord.
I didn't get the last one. Yeah, I got 3 of them. I didn't get the last one. But I never had any side effects from my shots. My husband stopped it too. He wouldn't get the last 2 because he just didn't want to get them anymore. But me and my mom, we got 3. We didn't get the last one, but she is no longer with us. She passed away in 2024, in August of 2024.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she was 77 at the time. They told us that she had end-stage liver failure, which I'm still trying to wrap my head around about how it happened. Because she wasn't a drinker, hadn't had any alcohol in over 20 years. So the only thing that she was taking consistently was blood pressure medicine. So when I questioned it, they didn't really have any answers for me as to how she ended up with end-stage liver failure. But since coming into this truth and listening to your lessons and research, I do believe 100% it was a jab.
Sister, when we talk probably this Friday or the academy, I'll let you finish. I'm going to have to tell you how they came up with being able to diagnose people with high blood pressure. And I can't do it here, but it's going to trip you out. Because right now, when you told me what happened with what happened with you, if I would have had a high blood pressure machine on my arm right now, my blood pressure would have automatically shot up. So I need you to think about this. If you're living in a community where you are oppressed, you don't know how you're going to get your rent. You don't know whether or not you're going to get put out. High crime rate. Well, a normal reaction, biological reaction, is for your blood pressure to shoot up until you stop worrying. So now, so if you testing blood pressure in the midst of poverty, how many people are going to leave the doctor's office with a regular reading? And you gotta think, yeah. If someone get excited, their blood pressure goes up. Right? Someone's getting mad, their blood pressure goes up. So, but when you go to sleep and you're relaxed, and somebody take your blood pressure, it's normal. So
yeah, I questioned her doctors and wanted to know why she was on the same medicine for so long, but I got the same story. At the time, I didn't really understand to do more due diligence as I do now. But when I do go to the doctor, because I get my yearly checkups, but anytime they try to mention anything about prescribing medicine for me, I'm like, no, I know things to do to correct that, or if there's any issues, I don't have any. Sister, all praises.
Sister, I tell this story all the time, and I'm going to do it real quick. I know you probably heard it before, but I like to emphasize it because sometimes new people come on. I remember when we came back to the United States, I went to see my doctor. His name was Dr. Parks. The Lord bless his soul. He was right there on Dolphin Street, right off Broad and Dolphin. And they knew me, right? I go in. He was so happy to see me or whatever, Dr. Parks. So I just want to do my annual checkup and all those things because I was about to get my identification and all that after coming back. I go in to the nurses. I go into the same room I'm used to going to. She, the nurse, this new woman, wraps the high blood pressure thing around my arm. And, it's working by itself for nurses out there. The new machines, you don't have to, pump with your hands. Mm-hmm. So she's sitting there looking at the machine and looking at me. And I'm like, yeah, okay, what's that? And her eyes bulge out of her head. Your blood pressure, what's going on? I'm like, listen, man, first of all, I'm going to need you to calm down. My blood pressure's fine. What? You see what this is? You can get a stroke. I'm like, woman, I'm going to tell you again. I'm fine. My blood pressure is fine. I need you to step off. And I told her just like that. And she's looking at me because I don't think they're used to men asserting authority. I'm like, who are you? I don't know who hired you. I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with me. I like, sister, if something was wrong with my blood pressure, I would know it. I don't care what that machine says. So I said, a matter of fact, skedaddle. Go get the doctor for me, please. And I said it just like that. I said, skedaddle. Dr. Parks come in, and she's looking over his shoulder. All right? And Dr. Parks says, hey, Shep, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing well. Hey, it's not normal, but it seems like what she's saying is true. Seems like your blood pressure is up there. I'm like, okay. I'm like, she's my blood pressure problem. And I said, a matter of fact, this is what we're going to do, Doc. I need you to go to your office and get me that old blood pressure thing that you used to pump with your hands. And I need you to check my blood pressure. I said it just like that. And then he laughed. He says, it's not going to be no different, Rich. I'm like, I trust you, Doc. I said, I don't want her touching me. You bring it in here. Right? And I said it just like that. He comes in, he put it around my arm, and he pump. He pump it, and they go, tss. The air comes out, the air comes out of it. And you should have seen his glasses slid all the way down to the bottom of his nose, looking at it. And I'm like, so doc, what is it? He says, Rich, it's normal. I'm like, of course it's normal, doc, because I know it's normal. How many people did you test with that faulty machine in our community? And I said it just like that. I'm like, and guess what? My blood pressure is high right now. And he started cracking up. He should have seen her looking over his shoulder. Skedaddle is what I told her. No, because I don't need what they're prescribing. I'm good. I understand that when people gets me upset, my blood pressure go up because that's what happens with people. You ain't gonna put me on no medication just because my blood pressure is doing what it's supposed to do. I don't need a false reading. I don't need my blood pressure to be normal when I'm upset. That's crazy. So if they're deregulating you when your blood pressure should be high and it's low, what's going on in your body? I'm like, peace. And then before I left, I said, A Gathering 144. What? YouTube, A Gathering 144, lady. Get it together. For water, sister. I'm sorry for your loss. I thought I'd give you a laugh before it's over, but I don't deal with that mess. You take your. Who do you think sent the machines in there? Probably. Exactly. Probably the same people that's going to make sure that the medication comes through there. Who knows? I'm like, no, I want to deal with people when it comes to my health, all right? Next thing you know, it's going to be AI telling people what they have. That's what happens next.
That's coming. That's coming.
All right, thank you, sister.
Thank you, Elder.
All right, bless you.
Bless you.
You can let yourself out. Amanda. Where you at, Kayem? I was about to let you in. He probably had to go to work. Amanda, how are you? All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes. How you doing, Amanda?
Hi.
Where you from?
My name is Amanda, Georgia.
What part of Georgia?
Well, I live currently in Social Circle, Georgia. It's in a country area.
Okay. How are you? Good evening.
I'm okay. I didn't catch the broadcast, but I will go back and watch it. But I just wanted to speak to you just a little bit. Just let you know that my husband introduced me to you guys back in 2018, 2019, and we had been changing our lives for the better.
Praise the Most High.
Since then, yes. He was in the academy as much as possible. And up until the last one. And he actually just passed away recently last week. And he never got a chance to get baptized. But I still want to. And I really wanted to know if there's anyone I can speak to regarding grief, or is there something that, you all offer in that area at all?
Well, sister, first and foremost, you have my deepest condolences. I don't want to be insensitive here. What did he pass from?
To be honest with you, I can't say for sure because we never took any vaccines. Well, not never. Obviously, when we grew up, we took vaccines by default. But just when we gotten older, we never took flu vaccines, never took, any of those.
How old was
he? He was 39, and he was 39.
Let me ask you, did he have a fever and a headache?
Yes. Jaw pain, back pain. No, not even the headache. He had back pain at first. He was complaining to me about, at first we thought it was, okay, so the very first day, because it only lasted 2 days. It was only 2 days, and it was, I'm sorry.
Sister, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you talk, but I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine because this is reoccurring. What was the cause of death they was able to tell you about?
They said it was cardiac temp something. I never heard of it, but they said it was because fluid was around his heart, and I never knew that he had any underlying issues. He never had any, his dad probably, had heart issues.
Nah, it ain't got to do with it. They'll try to claim it's something genetic. Let me tell you, we've been hearing this for a while. We've been hearing about men in particular. They're feeling lethargic, pain, headaches to some degree, and then between 2 or 3 days they'll deteriorate without any real cause that you can think about. You're the second person in 2 weeks who told me about this
And I don't know
when it comes to
going on.
men.
It's so,
But now, what I'm saying is, and you got my condolences. That's why I say it sometimes, even speak to your doctor. But people, I really think that people need to speak to their doctors to see if they can have at least some ivermectin or something on the side. Speak to their doctor, because sometimes, you may need, we may need something that can get to the root of an issue initially, right? So, yeah, I'm sorry to hear about this. Do me a favor, sister. Send me an email real quick, because you're on Zoom, so you can't. A matter of fact, I can do it this way. Let me mute it, and you can talk to me, okay?
okay.
And do you have any children?
No children. We were married 13 years and didn't have any kids.
Well, I'm sorry.
Not yet.
I'm sorry to hear that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Bishop Baruch reach out to you. All right? And you have my deepest condolences. And
I wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't obviously get baptized or anything, but I know his heart was in the right place. He had his struggles, with certain things that he wasn't able to, I guess, 100% change. But obviously, we're not perfect, but we did want to make sure that when we got into the water that we would, change our lives the way that the Most High would want us to. So I was wondering, do you think he'll be accepted? Do you think he'll be accepted into the kingdom?
Sister, I'm sorry to hear this. And only Christ knows under these circumstances when it comes to that.
Yeah.
You understand? But you do what's right.
I am.
You do what's right. You be baptized. And
he let me hear, so that's what I appreciate.
Yeah, we'll pray. There have been instances, because the Bible tell you in certain instances where everybody didn't get an opportunity to know what we know, but they did the right thing according to the law, and Christ accepted them. Right? But I can't, I have to be honest with you. I have to say that only Christ knows through that when it comes to that. Right? Because I don't know his path. I don't know, what his conscience was towards the Almighty, and what that agreement he has. Every individual have it in their conscience to know what they need to do for Christ.
Right.
Every individual, and that's their lot that they've pulled with the Almighty. So, only thing I can do is pray that the Most High receive him in paradise, and to have grace on him. And you do the right thing. You become baptized. You walk the straight gate, and pray that that his return is with Christ. Okay, but you have my deepest sympathies, and whatever the church can do to help, we're here. So make sure you reach out to Baruch. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I give him your number.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to say you guys have a huge impact on people knowing and not knowing. I never called in, never, just felt like I needed to, but I just felt like I wanted to give you guys a call tonight. And yeah, I really appreciate you taking my call. I really do.
Well, we're there for you, sister. If you need prayer, whatever you need, we're here, okay?
Thank you so much. You guys have a good evening.
All right, you're not alone. We're with you,
Yes.
okay?
Thank you.
All right, bless you, sister.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
You can let yourself out if you don't mind, Amanda.
Okay, I will.
Oh, the sweet sister. All right, last call or last Zoom for this evening. The chosen one. Chosen one.
Thank you. You too. Okay.
Would you like to say something, chosen one? All right. Going once. Gone twice. Gone.
Yes, hello.
Hello?
Hello? Oh. Is this thing on? Hello?
Yeah. Do me a favor. Take us off speaker, please.
Hello? Oh, boy. Hold up. Hello? Would you like to please?
Okay. Elder Rawchaa, Elder Lawya, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm going to come out of Zoom real quick because I guess that concludes our Zoom.
Yes, hello?
Hello?
Hello? Hello? Shalom.
You're going to have to call back Friday, sir. It's right now. It's a bad line going on, bad feedback. It makes bad for a broadcast. So just come in Friday, okay?
Okay, I'll hit you Friday.
Okay, now you sound fine right now. If you want to get in a quick minute, I'm here for it.
Yes, yeah, quick minute. I just want to touch on that Karen in Richmond, Virginia, that fractured baby legs.
Yeah.
If you take a closer look at her eyes, she's a reptilian. She has very slit eyes. It's not normal.
All right, real quick. Let me bow out of this real quick, if y'all don't mind. I'll call back Rawchaa. All right, we getting into the wee hours of the night now. You know, what we don't want is to discredit everything that we've brought forth so far, right? And I know the enemy would love us to end on that note. You know what I mean? Yeah, Elder Lawya, we're going to end it there. Not after having a blessed broadcast. You know, next thing you know, if you look at our eyes real good, Elder Lawya, we got a whole new level going on. So I ain't going there. So I mean, may the Lord bless your soul. You know, that's all I can say on that. You know, I ain't going down that rabbit hole. You know.
God, I think it's that time. I think it's time to wrap it up.
Oh yeah,
we had a full night. Wonderful information came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't diminish what was brought out with that.
Yeah, you get past 10:05, you be wading into some murky waters in YouTube land. I tell you that right now. Some murky waters. This is when it gets. This is when they start turning up. So this is when they start turning up. So
right.
With that, may the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up. Let's protect our men. Let's protect our women and understand the enemy is conspiring against the children of Israel. And if we don't look out for each other, hey, we're open game. Make sure if you have people you love you care about and in these hospitals, you must have round the clock. Even if you have to go in shifts, you must have round the clock watch on your loved ones. I'm going to put it out there right now. With that, I'm going to say shalom. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up, sin not, and keep in mind the Most High is calling back the children of Israel. That's right. We are the children of Israel, and we're back. We're blessed by the best, and his name is Ahia. Good night.
Good night. Shalom.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
With the great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. So we be Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Ahia is gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us. At gunpoint. Together.